What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Your Story. We're here at Wide Open Throttle, aka WOT Auto Detailing, out of San Antonio, Texas. We're here with Mr. Mike himself. Welcome, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Cheers. So we already cracked these open. We are next door at Long Tab Brewing. It's cool because that's an awesome brewery that's actually right next door to here. So I know you're good friends with them over there.
Yep.
So can you give us a little bit of background on them and why you decided to choose this beer as your drink of choice today?
Yeah, so Long Tab, they're all Special Force veterans. And so they've developed this entire brewery and lineup of beers either named after missions that they were all on, or fallen soldiers, or families of soldiers. So they do a ton of giving back to the different organizations that are out there, whether it's the Green Beret Foundation, their own personal choice federation things, but all said and done, outstanding people, outstanding culture over there. And obviously we want to give back in any way we can. And so that's why we picked Long Tab.
Well, yeah, like when we walked over there was three guys that seemed like they were best friends for the last 40 years, sitting outside with their newspapers ready to go in and share a beer.
And I guarantee you they all serve together.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of old veterans that come in, whether it's for lunch or just to grab a couple beers together. It's a perfect middle ground meeting place for guys that served together 20, 30 years ago. And they can catch back up, talk about old times.
Sure, there's a lot of great stories going on over there.
Yeah, there's too many good stories.
Especially after a couple of these.
Once we start rolling, it's over.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find out some secrets about the U.S. over there. Cool.
It'd be great.
Well, Mr. Mike Smith, the bearded man, why don't you give us a little background of your life, how you came basically out of Silicon Valley over to here? Just give us a little synopsis, and then we'll break in on it.
Yeah, so Cliff Notes, originally from the Bay Area, born and raised, and then got out as fast as I could. I was tired of it. Wanted to move to Texas, so we landed here in San Antonio. And long story short, worked at many different places, whether it was Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, to recruiting, technology, and decided that the only thing I ever liked was detailing, and gave everything up on a one-day notice and started detailing. And that's what started Wide Open Throttle.
That's awesome.
So
let's drop back to your childhood, because being in Silicon Valley with all the high-end CEOs, I'm sure the children of the Yahoos and the Googles.
Mm-hmm.
And can you speak of the schooling and kind of the people that were in your classroom?
Yeah, so most of the people that I graduated with, all their parents were either working for Yahoo, Cisco, wherever, or their parents were the people that started Symantec, the antivirus softwares, all of those things. So it was really interesting to grow up in that area, because obviously we grew up not like that at all. We moved into the house my dad grew up in before the Silicon Valley was the Silicon Valley. So we had a little bit different upbringing, but the schooling, the high school I went to, Saratoga High School, at the time was ranked the top 7 public high school in the country. And from an academic standpoint, it was basically like going to an Ivy League college in high school.
And you're thrown at this. There's no choice.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the top schools in the country, all in this little pocket. And, you're in that environment all the time. And, they're forcing education. And I was forcing athletics. So I played football for 12 years, played a bunch of other sports. I wanted nothing to do with academics. I wanted to play sports. And the best story of all time was when the football team got kicked off the football field so the band could practice before one of their competitions. So it was definitely an academic school,
wow,
non-athletic school.
Damn.
So it was wild.
So how was it growing up then? I mean, the friendship-wise, if it was a big academia and you were trying to, play sports, I'm sure highly energetic.
Yeah.
Right? Highly energetic. How was that then, being in that?
It was great. It didn't take a lot to dominate a team. So I ended up being, first team all league and team captain and all these other stuff, which I love, but I always pushed myself on the athletic side and not so much on the academic side. So it created a different draw effect. But as far as the friendships go, it's funny that when it comes to the sports, none of my friends that I still have today ever played sports with me. And on the back end of everything, those friends that I have, my best friends, all own auto shops or are mechanics now.
And these are guys you've known.
I've known for
your whole life.
25 plus years. And so they're doing classic restorations right now. Got awesome shops, really sought after. And that was the crowd I was with all the time, was all car related. And it's funny that we're all in the same boat now.
Yeah. And you were building go-karts at a young age too.
Yeah, so we've got the best man at my wedding and one of my groomsmen, two of my best friends. We got a really stupid idea one day, and we were really, really bored. And this was in middle school. And my best friend had a little auto shop on the side of his house his dad had built. And we took an old go-kart, and it was in pieces. We rebuilt it, but there was nothing to sit on. So we went and stole his mom's lounge chair out of the back of the yard, and it was metal. So we welded it to the go-kart frame and cut out little flame gas pedal and brake pedal for it, and on plasma. And this is middle school. We were
being kids.
Yeah, as kids, yeah. And so we decided that it'd be a great idea to go run it around town until the cops start chasing middle school kids down the street in go-karts. So yeah, we used to get in all sorts of trouble like that. We did everything from scooter builds to go-kart builds to helping, on the trucks and the cars. And that's kind of what started our fabrication love affair.
That you've had forever.
Never ended.
Doing this. Yeah.
Never ended.
And trucks have been a big impact on your life, or a big part of your life too.
Yep.
Seeing all the trucks that you've had here, seeing your own personal trucks that you have out there. When did that love come around?
From the beginning. I mean, I remember getting in the back seat of my grandfather's truck.
What was he driving? Do you remember?
He had an old Silverado square body.
Sweet.
And then I remember when he downsized into the S10 with the little suicide seat in the back, and I get shoved in the back of that, go to the ranch. So it was always trucks. And it was funny because my parents never owned trucks. And no one in the Silicone Valley had trucks.
But you did.
But we did. I was the only kid in high school that had a truck.
That's awesome.
So.
Was your grandpa working at a ranch?
He owned an almond ranch.
Oh, that's cool.
So I got to grow up a little bit on that as well. During the summers, I'd get shipped away. Let my parents have some vacation time, and I'd go work on the ranch with my grandfather. And I mean, so that definitely instilled a lot of, I think, the work ethic that I have now versus what you could have gotten from the Bay Area. Academics had not a lot of work ethics that were there. Had to go to college, had to get a good job, had to be a doctor, had to get a PhD. And I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
Different. I always worked. And that was just one of those things I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to work.
Yeah.
And, there was a day on the ranch. I was 5.5, and I'll never forget this day.
You were working on the ranch at 5.5?
I was working on the ranch and working at 5.5.
Sure.
So my grandfather had to irrigate about 50 acres. And so he gets on the John Deere and he starts going around. So he hands me a hoe and a shovel, both that were too big for me. And he says, here you go. Draws a line in the dirt. It says this needs to be, and draws a line on the handle of the shovel, needs to be this deep by this wide. Go. Start digging. And he had gone all the way around the ranch by the time I got about 2 feet. And that was it. I was there the whole day, one spot, digging a hole. And my grandfather was irrigating the rest of the ranch. But, I didn't stop. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And I've been like that ever since.
Wow. So is that what the summers were? You basically started at 5 years old, and that's what your summers were with your grandpa?
Yeah, on and off. Different grandparents. But it was always something.
Yeah.
Go to the ranch, got to do, fun stuff there. There was a newspaper article. There was a picture of me sitting on his lap, driving the John Deere down the side of the highway.
That's awesome.
And that was on the side of the fridge for many years. And it was just fun. We just had a good time and got to be outside all the time and got to work on things, take things apart, not know how to put things back together, but you learn later.
Yep.
It was fun. It was always a
four
good time.
bolts at the end of it, not knowing where they were, but it's
Yeah,
fun.
but drive, you'll figure it out later. Yeah, you'll figure it out.
That's great. So basically, hard work was instilled in you at a very young age, which goes to show, obviously, to today, knowing you and seeing everything you've put into place. College was a little bit of a step too. You and I can share in that, where it wasn't the easiest on the academia side.
Yeah, I think I got burnt out with the high school that I was at. Just the high pressure academic standpoint.
Yeah.
But in life, you're always told you got to go to college to get a good job, and all this pressure to continue your education, and generally in a college format. So no one talks about continuing your education in trade schools and all these other aspects that you can still learn more and do more with.
And make a great living out of.
Probably a better living than going to college.
Yeah.
And, so there's that. But, I tried college. I tried it 8 times. And so I'd go and I'd hate it and I'd quit. And I'd get talked back into going and I'd go and I'd hate it and I'd quit. And then later I finally figured out, well, I don't have to go to get a degree. I can go and pick a class that I want to learn in this one specific area. So I took a small business class, and I didn't take anything else. I didn't care about the credits. I cared about the class. I didn't even do the homework. Like, it wasn't about that. It was about just being present in the class and learning what was there. And that's where I learned to build my first business plan. So there's different ways to look at it, but yeah, college was not successful.
Yeah, I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't drop out as much, but I had that same mental, I guess just jargon going on back and forth in my head. It was like, is this the right place? But
Yeah.
the same thing. I remember that small business class taught me how to do my first business plan, see the success of it, realize at the end of it, once you build the plan, the whole idea was, all right, you come up with this idea, you build this plan, you think it's going to be a $1 billion idea, and you realize it's going to fail in 3 years.
Yep.
That's why it's so important for everybody to do a business plan.
Yep.
Right? That was the best class I ever had.
Yep.
By far.
And keep editing it.
I'll
That's
keep
the other
editing
thing.
it.
You can't just stick to
growing.
it,
No.
because you're going to learn something one week. It's going to completely change the course of action and part of that plan. And I think that's where people get stuck too, is they get stuck. I made this plan, I'm going to stick to it, which is great, but don't be too hard-headed, Make some adjustments as you go.
What were a few of the other classes that were impactful to you when you were there? Or that you decided to jump onto?
Communications class as well. I took a couple different communications classes, and it helped with public speaking. It helped with just overall confidence when talking about things. It helped with kind of formulating a process. If you were going to do a presentation, how to kind of build that cycle in your head before you end up on the stage to talk about the presentation. You were able to back it up mentally. So a lot of key components came out of that as well.
So after you graduate, or after you left, college, how was it in the job force then, in the job world, trying to find something that, obviously you settle now in something that you love.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think it didn't hurt me as bad as I thought it hurt me back then. So I always had this mentality of, I was so confident in telling people, by the way, I don't have a degree. And that was really hurting me more, but I wanted them to know. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter. If I could get in, get the job done, do the job well, it didn't matter if I had a degree or not. And we're talking, financial investments at Merrill Lynch, 1031 tax exchanges, real estate, classes on that. All these different pieces of the puzzle that I didn't need a degree for, but I was always shooting myself in the foot, being like, hey, I don't have a degree. I want you guys to know that ahead of time. Hopefully that doesn't hurt my chances, even though it probably was the reason bringing it up is what hurt the chances. So it was a little bit difficult. If I had to turn it back, that would have been the one thing I didn't say and just went after the job I wanted.
Yep.
But I think that was self-induced failure.
Did somebody take a chance on you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. And don't get me wrong, I loved every job I've had until I decided that it wasn't for me. That's when I became miserable at it. But I always took it from a learning experience too. So doing financial investments and being in that atmosphere every day has helped set up different parts of my life on a financial spectrum. Something that I wouldn't have learned had I not probably had that job. Real estate, buying my first investment property at 25. I wouldn't have known about that without being in that industry. So it's all been full circle.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade that for the world. But at the same time, it's I think I had to go in there, had to learn it, had to become miserable, so that way I could force myself to do what I really wanted to do in life.
Which is this?
Detailing.
That's awesome. So you shared a story last night about your best friend that you met when you basically ripped your leg apart. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, my understanding, that's kind of why, or how you ended up in San Antonio. So can you kind of give the backstory to your buddy?
Yeah.
And how this crazy adventure ended up getting you here.
And it hasn't ended, which is crazy. So
That's awesome.
the adventure's still going, and it's still wild, and it's nuts, and we should have died many times.
Happier alive.
Yeah, oh well, fuck it. So, you know, that's, so it all started, and it's a small world too. I'll explain that in a second. We've got a shop a block away who turns out to be the guy that started this forum.
No way.
And he's at the Linex
The
shop.
truck guy?
Yep, right at the
Oh, the
corner.
Linux in the corner there.
And the truck that's right here?
Yeah.
That's him. So they had started GM Full Size. And this was...
That's the forum? That's what
the
the forum
forum.
called? Okay.
And I was in this massive truck phase with Chevys and got on this forum, and, you know, everybody's sharing their builds and all of that stuff. And there was this off-road meet in College Station. And jokingly, I said, all right, I'm going to go to this.
Where's College Station at?
About six hours
From
away.
here?
Yeah, give or
Okay.
take. That's about where the park was at. And
And where are you living at this time?
California.
Okay.
Still in California. I jokingly said, oh, I'll finish building the truck. I'll come out to the meet. I'll take a little road trip. Let's go for it. And there was enough peer pressure on the return that said, you're not going to do it. You should do it. Bring it on. Let's go. And finally I said, fuck you. Let's go. So I went down to the steel yard because I just bought a winch for the truck. I was going to build a bumper for it. And I got home and I was not thinking this all the way through. And I'm going to pull the steel out of the bed. And I didn't put gloves on or anything. I should have had help getting everything out. And the tailgate's here when I'm looking at it. And I start sliding the metal down and it starts cutting my hands. And so I let go. And it crashes into my foot. And luckily only broke my foot. Should have sheared it. But I had some pretty good boots on it at the time and just crushed. And so ended up breaking my foot, go to the doctor. I'm in a cast. Go back on the forum, say, I can't make it. Broke my foot, put a picture of that on the forum. This guy comes back, goes, bullshit. He goes, you book a flight, I'll pick your ass up at the airport. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird, but fuck it.
And how old were you at the time?
18.
Oh my God. Might I add, everybody, fuck it is his saying, and
Yeah.
I love it. So say him as much as you want.
Yeah. You know, life's too short. You just got to live. So I booked a flight. He picked me up at the airport.
What were your parents' reactions?
My mom was a little freaked out. You know, she's like, what are you going to do if he doesn't pick you up? So I got a week in Austin to figure it out. And I got my return flight, so I'll just hop back on and come home when I'm done. No big deal. What if he does pick you up? What if it doesn't go like planned? Well, Mom, I'll figure it out.
Yep.
We're going to have fun. I'm gonna have fun regardless of anything. Even if he doesn't show up, I'm going to have a great time. And he showed up, had time of my life at this off-road meet. And 3 months later, he was back in California. We were down in Pismo Dunes jumping trucks. And so that kind of started this trend of I visit, he visits, I visit, he visits. And I end up being a groomsman in his wedding. He ends up being the ordained minister that married me and my wife. I bought his house. I was originally buying it as an investment property. And here in San Antonio while I was living in California.
Yeah.
And I had come out here to sign the paperwork, and I was working out of an office that my company had out here. And they offered me a transfer with the same pay I was making in California.
So you doubled your salary.
Yeah. And it basically came down to this is stupid not to take this opportunity. I've wanted to take this opportunity for a long time. I'm just going to do it. And so I called my then girlfriend, now wife, said, hey, what do you think about moving to San Antonio? And her response was, well, I'd like to visit it. And my response was, well, you will in 3 weeks when we move. And she says, well, I don't know if I want to move. And I said, well, that's okay. Like, I respect that. Like, it's entirely your option at this point. Like, I totally respect that you want to make the right decision for yourself, your life. But I'm going to make this decision in my life, and I'm not going to give this up. And I'm sorry if it makes things awkward, but I have to go. And 3 weeks later, we were packed up, and we were both moving.
And how long were you guys dating at the time?
Like 6 or 8 months.
Damn. That was a big decision all around.
Big decision.
Wow.
Big decision. And so, yeah, so we moved to San Antonio, into the house with my best friend. One of my best friends, he lived on half the house. I lived in the other half of the house. We did that for a year till his house was being built. And that was our shot at getting to Texas.
Wow. So what was the decision then once you were here? What was the decision to leave the recruiting side you were in and go all into detailing?
You know, it was great at first. The recruiting was definitely different. The culture here in San Antonio is definitely different. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different pace of life. And it took some getting used to. And while I still liked the recruiting aspect, I was having some personal adjustment issues to the different lifestyle. I'm ready to go. I'll get a call back like this. Out here, be a week before I get a call back, which was normal. But I didn't know that was normal. And so I became a little bit more miserable in that job. And so I told the wife, I said, I'm gonna start seeing if I can get detailing back up and going out here. And I did right away. And so I told her, I said, look, the only thing consistent in my life has been detailing. I've got to do this. And I said, I'm gonna be miserable. So she had bought me Rennie Doyle's book on starting your own business. And I read it, front to back. And I said, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go give notice. She's thinking 2 weeks. And I said, no, it's gonna be tomorrow. I'm done. I'm going to make this work. My back's up against the wall. I've got so much skin in the game. We just moved. We got all this stuff going. We're gonna make this work. And we did. And so I went door knocking, started getting on Facebook, started getting on
What were you
Yelp,
running the
Google.
business out of at the time?
Back of my truck.
Sweet.
So I went full mobile out of the back of my truck. And then that grew enough. I was in the back of my garage at home. And then we went from the garage from the house to this shop now, all in about 8 months.
Damn.
So it just took off.
And how long have you been in here now?
We've been in here since 16, 17. So
4 years.
4 years.
Nice. And where did your love of detailing start?
So as a kid, Saturday mornings, my dad would always wash the family cars. And so as kids,
Every Saturday.
it had to be done. He was very religious about that. And he had this little shelf full of detailing products, over-the-counter stuff. But I would go out there and I would help him with the cars, get up real early in the morning. I somehow found a passion in keeping the cars clean. And I couldn't explain that to anyone, like, why is this fun? And later in life, I figured it out. I love instant gratification. And I can get instant gratification consistently and constantly through the transformation of these cars. And these are immediate turnarounds that this transformation is happening within. So instant gratification, I'm getting it all day, every day. I'm not waiting for these long cycles to get gratification. I'm right away. And detailing is just that instant gratification. Within hours, you've changed the entire look of a car. And that's fun. That's exciting.
Yeah.
We send teaser pictures at those moments to our clients and they get excited. And then it's fun for them too. And then we don't show them the finish. They come pick it up and it blows them away. But it's that instant gratification. They feel better about the price points and the value that they're getting out of those services. And so that's how I am. And that's what we've created. So that's been, I think, my biggest thing of why I liked it so much for so long. And, being told, this isn't a profession. A long time ago, everyone was just a car washer, right? And there wasn't any glorification to this industry or the amount of work or effort or education that you had to get to take your business or just your skill set to another level. And that's been a big issue and still is an issue. I mean, people look at you differently. You're just a car washer. No, I'm not. I'm a curator. I'm an artist. This is different. So I think that's why I always stopped and started back up.
Because of people around you?
I think so. I think, obviously I wanted to, growing up in the Bay Area, everybody's making it big.
Yeah.
And so you want to find something to make it big, whether it was that real estate's booming. Okay, let's do that. Oh, real estate crashes. Let's not do that. financial investments are booming. Oh, financial investments crash. There's these different things. There's never ending supply of cars. If we go to this whole all electric deal, that doesn't matter. There's still cars, it's still paint. It's never going to go away. So there's a lot more job security in it than people even care to think about. And that's a big win. So overall, I think it's an amazing industry to be in. And I should have done it head on sooner. But I'm in it now, so what's the difference?
That's right, baby.
So
all the way. So you that decision you made to go all in, was it a complete shift then for you? 24 hours later, it was like, okay, I gotta make this work now.
Oh, it was less than that. Yeah, I mean, I went in, quit at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by that afternoon, I was knocking on doors.
And where were you going door knocking at?
Down the street in my neighborhood.
To keep going.
Yeah.
Yep. What were you saying?
Hey, want a clean car? I knew nothing. I mean, that's really what it was. And, just started introducing myself to people. Hey, by the way, I live over there. I own this detailing business, made it sound all fancy and all these other things. So we come to you, or, you're in the neighborhood. You can come over to the house. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And here's a couple price points. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, we'll do that. I mean, you're right here. Yeah, I'm literally like the next street over. Okay, cool. Let's get something scheduled. You got availability like Wednesday? Yeah, I got so much availability you don't even know. But absolutely, 9 o'clock on Wednesday. Does that sound good for you? It sounds great. I said, I'll be over. Maybe I'll just pick it up, bring it back to the house. And that's what I would do. And then it turned into the Yelp ads and stuff like that. And, just through pictures that I've had of these cars that I've done on and off for all these years,
yeah,
I just reused those. They were my work from the very beginning. And just because it wasn't from this business doesn't mean that I couldn't have those out there as, that work that's been done. And that's what I started with. And then I started getting calls and the phone started ringing more. And I remember telling my wife, I booked one today. And I remember telling her, hey, I booked 2 this week. And I got 3 this week. And then that turns into 3 today. And then that 3 turned into 10 today. And it's just grown exponentially. But I'll never forget that feeling if I got 1 today.
Yeah, we'll never forget that feeling even now.
Never. No.
Even when we open the shop and somebody goes and hands the keys over.
Yeah.
That feeling never goes away.
No, never.
And it's extremely important for what you mentioned too is because obviously there's a lot of guys that want to make the decision that you made. Mm-hmm. I made the same decision. I decided on a Saturday morning I was going to quit and walked in Monday morning and did it. And by Monday afternoon I was home with Mikey and Colin detailing 3 cars that night.
Yep.
So I remember the same decision I made and having no support around me, other than a few people, and having to try to grind it through.
Yep.
But going and door knocking and putting your name out there. And the biggest thing is allowing people to trust you.
Yep.
Is the biggest thing, and building that trust level with them, because they're not just passing the key over, but they're building a relationship.
Yes.
Which is something that you've done exponentially well that I don't think many people in this industry have done, is that customer experience side of it, which I know is super important to you.
Yeah, there's no such thing as customer service in our business here. It's all client experience, and it's completely different. And there is a difference between the two.
Yeah. So how do you build that trust with your clientele base?
Respect and transparency. So the biggest thing is obviously showing them the respect that they deserve for willing to invest into you. And then the second part is the full transparency. There's no gimmicks, there's no sales. I don't sell. It's explanation, re-education, or just education as a whole. This is how we're doing it. This is what's being done. Answering their questions, that full transparency, and letting them make the decision for themselves instead of trying to push them into specific packages or anything else. We just let them do it all on their own. And if they don't, that's fine. I'm not going to hard sell anybody. So that initial non-sell factor creates a different respect and trust, and they can see right through because you've created 100% transparency. And when they do that, they feel a lot more confident in you being the service provider for them than someone who's trying to force this wax down their throat. And I think that's been the easiest way to build the relationships that we've built with our clients, I think it's slowed the overall growth or potential revenue that we could be having as a company. But I'm okay with that. You know, as long as we're making what we need to make, every year is a little bit better than the next one.
Yep.
And we just keep going. And every year is a step up from the last. We don't have to be making millions of dollars right now. You know, that can come in time. And, you know, I've got time. So what's it going to take? 10 more years? Fine, great, not a problem. We'll just keep doing it. We're very selective about the clients we bring in. That's another big thing. If there's a lack of respect from them as well, we're just not interested in that work.
Yeah.
With this being a family, as far as who we've got here in the shop, that's not acceptable to me. Like, I'm a big alpha family kind of concept guy, and I won't tolerate people disrespecting my guys.
Hell no.
So if there's any point disrespect, and even in the slightest bit, to me, I raise that flag as a problematic client. Maybe they're not truly problematic this time, but they will be down the road. 86, not happening. So.
And you spoke a very key point there, and what I love about you guys, even, you know, since we've been here, is I've never heard I. All I've heard is we.
Yeah.
Family, right?
Yeah, I doesn't exist here. If it's really specific about us as an individual, you'll hear I. If it's anything that has to do with the shop, it's we.
It's always been.
It's always. When I started this business, there's the I. When I started this business, I completely removed I from the vocabulary, even when I didn't have anybody helping. And that was the biggest transition for me. By saying we, you create this different appearance and atmosphere to clients. And they look at you a lot differently when it's we. And I might be the only one there to work on that car, but it's still we. And then as we grew, we was easy. It was already there. And we're all in it together. Because obviously, if I'm not successful in this, Adrian can't be successful, you know? And if Adrian isn't killing it like the rock star he is, then, you know, the back of the house is hurting.
Yeah.
So it's all of us. We all have skin in the game. It's we. It'll never be I. I didn't get us here. We got us there. I might be the face, but it's only because of the team that we've had that can get us to those points.
Yep.
There's a big difference.
And you got a family between, I mean, not just at home family, but this is a family here.
There's a family.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Adrian's got a beautiful daughter. You know, I've got a beautiful daughter. One day I'm playing daddy daycare for the kids. I'm Uncle Mike. Half the time my daughter's calling me Uncle Mike, and she's just learning to talk. I'll always be Uncle Mike to Adrian's daughter. And Adrian will always be Uncle Adrian to my kids. There's no way around that. And if I ever need anything with the kids, Adrian's there. Boom, done. If he needs, when he was moving not that long ago, you know, sometimes it helps to get the kids out of the house while you're making the big moves and stuff. All right, cool. Grab baby girl. Hey kids, we're going to the zoo today. Another one of our good buddies. I picked up all the girls, went to the zoo.
Big bearded man,
Yeah.
walking around with 3 little girls.
Oh, hey, no problems. Yeah, everyone was afraid. So, yeah, I mean, that's how it works. It's always going to be like that. There's no way that if I'm ever in need of something that he's not going to step in and have my back, and vice versa. And that's just how this works.
Yeah, culture is one of the most powerful things in a company.
Yeah.
Especially doing it the right way.
Yep.
And building it properly. Building that the family atmosphere.
Yep.
And the we atmosphere. And that culture, that's helped us with our business too. Same deal. You know, everyone's
Night and day
family.
difference.
Yep. We go out, you know, we'll shoot some paintballs at each other and, you know, shoot at certain people closer to the face than not. But,
Absolutely.
you know, we go and have fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
You go to
I mean,
games, drink beers.
We're like a married couple. We still have our bickers and our fights and, you know, our disagreements. But at the end of the day, it's a handshake and a hug away. And, hey, we're good.
Yeah.
It's like being married again.
I love it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. So, you know, your business, how has it transformed then? So once you got into the shop, because it's big for a lot of guys too, was making that move. going from mobile
Yep.
out of your garage, your home garage, and then finally moving into a facility and making that jump, not just for the space-wise, but financially too, because it's a big financial burden that's now put under your business.
Sure.
So how was that shift for you, going from basically where you were out of your home and mobily, then moving into here?
So I think for me, I was very impulse driven on the shop concept. I knew that it was getting difficult to do out of the house and splitting mobile and house work. And I knew that a shop had to be the direction that we were going in. It just happened to be 3 days before my wedding that I found this shop.
You found this place 3 days before your wedding?
And I didn't tell my wife until we already had it, because I was here instead of setting up the wedding. I was doing the
she still
epoxy
said,
on
"I
the
did."
floors. She should have left. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Between the move and the wedding bullshit, she should have left. So it was very impulse driven.
So you're laying epoxy here though, 3 days before your wedding.
Yeah, moving all the tools in, all the equipment, and hanging lights and running electrical.
She had no idea about this place.
And building a desk. And no, I went back and I told her what happened, and it was a mistake telling her before the wedding. But granted, she's put up with it a lot, so she's working it out. But yeah, so I think that didn't help me line things up the way that I wanted them to line up. I think I should have been more cautious about the extra spending and everything else. We got a great deal on the rent. Shop was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. So I did get lucky in a lot of aspects. But with new overhead, and if you haven't set the time to budget for that new overhead, there's a lot of issues that can arise. And that's something we did experience initially, and still sometimes too. I mean, we said, you know what, we want race deck today, so we impulsively bought race deck. We impulsively built this tunnel.
It's gorgeous.
Thanks. Yeah,
Badass.
there was a total
Sweet, man.
impulse.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that. But as far as the overall transition, we'd lost some clients because of it. We were no longer mobile, and it was definitely a little bit different being able to work in a shop. I think it was more rewarding for me personally to walk into a place that felt like a home versus doing it out of your home. I don't know really how to explain that, but the transition wasn't smooth per se, but it's grown to be a lot smoother. So, just different. I love it though.
You're doing great, bro.
I love it.
I love it too. I love the energy. I love your energy when I walked in here. What you guys have built is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Especially in this location, and you guys obviously shared that. The amount of trucks that you guys are getting in here, and the quality of client is super key to not just the business as a whole, but to you guys here. You got to deal with them every single day.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you got 2 cell phones. I was like, why you got 2 phones? You go, I got 1 business phone and I got 1 personal /business phone.
Yep.
So they become friendships quick. And once that trust level builds, and once you get to know them even better, it's
Yep.
it's just how it is.
Our clients, are just amazing overall. They're all friends. They've really become friends. We have very, very, very few one hitters.
Yep.
Very few.
They keep coming back.
They just keep coming back.
Yeah.
And even if they were a one hitter, somehow they come back around on their next car.
Yeah.
I don't get to build that relationship in between, but they were obviously sold enough on the concept that they love this place that they're coming back for their next one. And the cars that we've had in here today, that was 1 quick text message. Hey, do you mind if we have your cars over today? Absolutely. We'll be there at 4:00 tomorrow. Nick, my wife will be there at 5:00. We'll have everything ready to go. And it's like, wow, thank you. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The Baja Raptor over there. Hey, do you need this truck back anytime soon? Why? Well, I wanted it for a video. You can have it in like 2 weeks. I don't care. Just let me know when you're ready for me to pick it up. Thanks, dude.
That's awesome.
So it's fun.
It's fun. Well, there's 2 things we got to get into. The first one's your beard products. Because that beard
approved.
Yeah, beard approved, which your beard is so damn sexy.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to rub my fingers through it all day.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did last night, so.
I did beard last night. I couldn't
Poor
resist.
Jason got jealous too.
Sorry, otterness. So can you, your beard was not something you've always had, right?
No, I didn't have my beard until detailing, like full time, and that wasn't even full time.
Because of corporate life, you couldn't rock it in the corporate world.
I wasn't something I was interested in, honestly. I don't even know why I grew my beard out, to be honest. I think I just did it to do it.
Fits you.
And yeah, I mean, I liked it. I shaved it off when my daughter was born, so just 2.25 years ago. And I told myself, I said I was done with it, but then I just didn't trim it again, and it came back.
This is what happens.
And this is what happens. And I've taken probably 10 plus inches off this last year.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so I make my own beard oil. It's something that I've talked about, you know, making on a much larger scale for a long time. Probably going to pull the trigger on that. And yeah, I mean, it's marketing at its finest as well. And it's created a character that people either trust or are more open to. I told my wife I did it initially for marketing and sales. And, you know, when I was talking to my wife about it, she says, no, you don't need that. You look better without it, which she's probably not wrong. But it became an icebreaker. And one of the first things that people would talk about when they walked in the door was the beard. And there was definitely a clear transition when I had a beard about your length. And
you call this a beard? Thank you.
That's like
a
peach
compliment.
fuzz. That's like peach fuzz. But that was about what I had all the time. And I've had that since I was 15, 16, in high school.
Real man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when people walk in, they're nervous. They don't know what this is going to cost. They don't know, who you are, all these different things. Grow the beard, and everything out of everybody's mouth starting is like, wow, that's an awesome beard. Thank you. Okay, cool. Icebreaker, done.
Yep.
The door has been opened.
Psychology 101 right there.
It's over. There is no tension in the room anymore, except when they try and grab it all the time. And then there's tension on my end. But outside of that, it's that perfect icebreaker. And then, so we ran with that. We kind of figured that transition. And then we started making videos. And once the videos started hitting locally, people would see the beard and they'd actually watch the video. You can track how long they're staying in these things. And we went from no beard videos to beard videos with way longer watch times. And so, all right, it's got to stay. It's proven that it's working. And we go to SEMA, and I get stopped every 20 feet. Hey, that's an awesome beard, man. Cool. Well, there's no more icebreakers needed. Like I walk into any room, and I'm a pretty confident person, but I can still be shy at a certain point. And I don't feel shy anymore.
Yeah.
So it's raised my confidence level to be able to walk into a situation and feel comfortable with that situation, because the people on the other side are already comfortable. All they're doing is staring at your beard. It's great.
I stare at it all day. I'm staring at it right now. It's the best thing.
I just keep rubbing it.
The best year story ever. I get to look at the beard for an hour. It's
right?
Awesome.
So yeah, it's been great. And then with the beard products and stuff, I mean, it's something I want to run with eventually. And personally, like, I'd shave it off tomorrow if it wasn't successful.
Yeah.
And it's definitely changed how we do business, how we make videos, how we market, things like that. Coming out with beard approved, the character stickers and things like that. It's changed a lot from a business standpoint. But it's a part-time job. Like, this is a part-time job every day. I steal all my wife's products, and I don't think she's seen her blow dryer. I use her blow dryer. So yeah, it's different. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of upkeep, but it's worth it.
Can I request a flavor? Or I guess a scent.
You want flavors?
I mean, I was thinking
that's gonna cost you.
I was thinking about the fuck it flavor. That's awesome. Well, yeah, please don't shave it anytime soon.
Nah, I can't.
Yeah, it's with you now.
Yeah.
It's the George Clooney, as you call it, right?
Yep. Yeah, I got my racing stripes that have kind of just bled out. But I had two very distinct racing stripes for a long time. And those are gone. The whole thing is turning white. But it is what it is.
Santa, it's you.
Yeah, we did Santa outfits for Christmas this last year.
It's awesome.
One of our buddies has a massive Suburban on 40s, and I hung out the sunroof on the street corner across the street in the park,
That's great.
and we're just waving to kids as they were driving by,
Oh, they probably loved
honking
it.
the horns, and oh yeah, we do it all the time.
That's
It's
cool.
great.
That's great.
It's fun.
One more thing that I have to hit on, if not, my wife would kill me because it's really impactful to her and in her life is the rescue and the 2 dogs you have at home.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the rescue and how you were able to get your 2 pitties?
Yeah. So I'm a huge believer and supporter. I wholeheartedly believe that pit bulls are the best dog you'll ever have. And I think that there's such a bad rap, sometimes deserving, but there's a massive bad rap that dogs get put into a lot of bad positions. And it's changed the whole look on what a pit bull can be. And so my wife and I have both, we each have our dog, both rescues, both from death row. There's a sense of loyalty that you get from each dog. They're the most in-tuned, emotional dogs I've ever met. They can look at me and see the different emotions that I have without even realizing I'm expressing or showing emotion. And know when there's time for comfort. They know when there's time to walk away. And if I come home and I'm just stressed or irritable, they're not going to bother. Or they might try and calm me down, depending on my mood. It's very unique dogs. So we do our best to either help re-educate people that this dog is not a bad dog. I will never have a different dog. Never. Like, you can pay me $1 million tomorrow to have a different breed of dog. That's what we will always have. It did take extensive and expensive training just to be sure that we're on the right track. Behaviorally, there's things that they have, traits that you can work around, and you just have to know every dog's different. They all have their own personalities, and they all have their different limits. And understanding those limits, just like you and I, we're not pushing certain buttons during a random conversation. Same thing with a dog.
Yeah.
But they're the most protective and loyal of my family that I've ever seen. You can't get near my daughter forcefully with the dog around.
So there's no punishing.
No, absolutely not. I mean, there was a day where my mom had come over to the house back in California. I was down on the couch watching TV, and I was up in the shower. And I told my wife, this is right before we're getting ready to move. And I said, hey, my mom's coming over. I'm going to go take a shower real quick. Do you mind letting her in? Sure, no problem. The dog was laying on the couch with their doorbell rings. It's my mom. My mom's like 90 pounds soaking wet, 4 foot, like 8. Tiny little thing. And the dog hears the doorbell, doesn't realize it's my mom, gets on top of my wife, pins her to the couch, and blocks her from the door. And I'm in the shower yelling, open the damn door. Like, what the hell's going on here? And she goes, I can't. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, open the door. So I run down in a towel to open the door for my mom. And when the dog sees it's my mom, it's no problem. Lovey-dovey. But he's very protective.
He's a protector.
He's the protector.
And can you share the story of how you got him? Because I think it's a big education port. And these rescues or wherever you're going to is that there's certain rows, at least in California was the time, right?
Yeah, so the one that we had gone to, they had it set up in these rows. Like row 1 was week 1 of the dog being there. Row 2 was week 2 of the dog being there. This is basically what the aftermath is how we were explained to. They had death row kind of hanging out over here and all these different things. And so I didn't know going in.
You didn't know this at the time, though.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know going in that certain dogs were, okay, hey, your time's up, time to get euthanized. That's it. And when I figured that out, that's where I went. I went to that row. And lo and behold, my boy was in that row. And there was an instant, immediate connection. And that was it. It was done. And when he got in the car, we had an hour and a half drive home. That's how far away the shelter was. And he just put his head on my shoulder. And this big old smirk on his face, this shit-eating grin. And he's just happy as can be. And just stayed there the whole drive home. And he's just inseparable since. So it's been those, being able to go to a kill shelter, it's obviously to me priority number one. Now there's a lot of non-kill shelters available too that still need the support, but there's a lot of good dogs in kill shelters. And if you can make that impact in any way, shape, or form, obviously I would prefer to do that. There's breeder dogs, there's all these other things, which, you know, you can still get a great dog that way, but there's so many great dogs in these shelters that can make a lifelong impact for you. Like, I'll never forget my wife getting pinned on the couch. I'll never forget both of our dogs knowing my wife's about to give birth, and they go and lay by a crib that they've never seen this baby been around, and they're blocking you from getting to the crib. They knew this baby's coming, this baby's going in this crib. And we have pictures, if we can't find the dogs, and they're in the baby's room blocking the crib, both of them. Like, and I mean, just there's something about getting a dog from a kill shelter that's a little bit different, and they know you saved them, and there's this sense of loyalty that's created from it. It's amazing.
Powerful, brother.
Oh yeah, it's amazing stuff. Yeah, so rescue a pit, you'll never regret it.
Yeah.
But get training.
Good training.
It solves all the problems.
Well, I know a better story to end your story than that one right there.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, right? Yeah. Well, Mike, it's been an absolute blast hanging out with you and Adrian, both your families, meeting your daughters. Congrats on the son on the way.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll be wrenching on some trucks at the age of like 1.5.
Yeah, I sure hope it's like 6 months in, he'll figure it out. But yeah.
Start putting to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to give him a shovel and a big hoe and tell him to start digging.
He'll figure it out.
Exactly.
I had to figure it out. He'll figure it out.
I love it, brother. Well, thank you so much. Thank you also to Long Tab too,
Thanks
and
so
all the
much.
guys over at Brewing. Thanks for opening up your shop and just being an open dude and badass dude.
Yeah,
Thanks so
appreciate
much,
it.
brother.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Michael, Chris, Kyle, all the Avens family, everybody over at You're Able. Thank you to everyone at Cinescope. Make sure you go online, sign up for the free 30-day trial. And as always, keep shining. Cheers, brother.